Hello, alright, my name is Rosie and welcome to my channel. Here we give tips on how you can overcome depression day after day. In this video you will discover what are the symptoms of someone suffering from depression and how you can prevent something worse from happening. You are very lucky to be watching this video, because thanks to this content you won't have to go through all the suffering I went through due to depression, which is an evil that haunts millions of people around the world. But before I ask you kindly to watch the video until the end, subscribe to our channel, enjoy and share so that more people can be reached with this knowledge. What are the symptoms of someone suffering from depression? Do you know someone who is always sad with no desire to do things or who cries for no reason from time to time? That could be depression. Pay attention to this video, which is what I'm going to talk about now. A lot of people confuse sadness with depression, and they're different things. Sadness is a momentary feeling, usually in reaction to something unpleasant that has happened. It is part of the human being, and it is healthy. We learn and strengthen ourselves with it. So it's normal for you to be sad when something happens that's not planned, when you lose your job, when you break up a couple, or when something happens that you didn't want to. After the loss of a loved one or a severe stress situation, we may have a reaction that we call grief or stress. A feeling of sadness can occur for up to 6 months, and this is perfectly normal. Depression is different. Depression is a disease and causes a disorder for the life of the affected person. You should be suspicious of depression when this sadness is most of the time and is disproportionate to the facts. In addition, depression is not only sadness, it comes accompanied by a set of other symptoms that I will talk about now. How's your mood and pleasure? Have you noticed that in recent times you have no desire to do things, or if you had those things that you liked to do and suddenly no longer have interest? This is called anhedonia and is one of the important symptoms of depression. Have you gained or lost weight without having struggled for it? The change of appetite both for more and for less is also an important symptom of depression. How is your sleep? Are you having too much sleep, or are you having insomnia, which is the difficulty of starting sleep or waking up several times during the night or waking up early? Are you a little forgetful? Are you having trouble concentrating on your activities? Depression makes our thinking slower, and so people may have complaints of memory impairment or even difficulty performing tasks or understanding things that before she had great ease. Do you feel tired all the time and no energy to do your activities? In depression can also occur a decrease in libido, which is the decrease of sexual desire. You feel guilty about everything. People say you're always looking on the negative side of things. In depression, the feeling of guilt, intense pessimism are very frequent. It's as if we see the world in a distorted way, in a negative way. Now I want to draw your attention to something very important, which is the risk of suicide. Depression is one of the main causes of suicide, and so I want to draw your attention to two very important aspects. First of all, the use of alcohol and drugs. It is very common for depressed patients to go after alcohol use, to go after other illicit drugs to relieve their distress. But I want you to know that this only aggravates the situation and greatly worsens the risk of suicide. Second aspect. A sign of gravity that in medicine is known as warning signs, which are recurring thoughts in death. So it's important for you to observe if a person has thoughts of dying all the time, as if that's a relief. The very thought of exterminating life itself and committing suicide as if it were the only solution to its problems. In case this is happening, we should take this person immediately for an emergency so that it has an assessment of the severity of the picture and an action is taken as soon as possible. Don't underestimate this problem. Depression is serious. Worldwide, it is estimated that more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from this disorder. One person commits suicide every 40 seconds. I want you to know that depression can occur at any stage of life, in childhood, in adolescence, in maturity, or in old age, and that it often happens in the course of another pathology such as an acute myocardial infarction, a stroke, diabetes, and that when it is diagnosed early on, it improves a lot of the person's quality of life and the treatment of this other pathology that caused depression. Depression is a disease like any other disease. It is not a sign of madness, it is not a sign of weakness or irresponsibility. If you noticed any of these symptoms that we talked about here, get a doctor or psychological help. Early diagnosis is the best way to get life back on track. This will make you avoid going through all the pain and suffering that I and many people I know go through over the years. I say this because I suffered for 15 years with depression. Hard it is, that emptiness, that pain, that anguish of not having hope tomorrow. I took a long time to recognize that I had this disease. Only from the moment I accepted that I suffered from it, I decided to seek help. Only that unfortunately I spent a lot of money on treatments, medicines and therapies that have gone nowhere. That's when I discovered one day searching the internet, a method tested and approved by thousands of people who were going through the same situation I was and even worse, but who managed to overcome this disease. Today I am a completely recovered and well with life. I live a full joy every day. If you as well as I also want to get rid of depression once and for all, I will leave in the description of the video and in the first comment, the link to the solution that helped me turn things around. I wish in my heart that you too will overcome this disease just as I did. A strong hug and until the next video.